And we are live. Hi, everybody. Welcome in. In this video, I will be going over the SBA EIDL update for the 6 months in addition of deferment for your EIDL, otherwise the EIDL. Now, this is great news if you're in a tight pinch, you are economically struggling with the inflation going on. I'm going to give you some bits and details on what's happening, perhaps why you haven't really heard of this being out there in the press releases, and what's happening behind the scenes, and how this all came about to getting approved, and what are your expectations moving forward. And I'm also going to show you some alternative options, something you can add on top of your EIDL, or if you didn't get one, what other options are available. But all the material, if you want to learn about how to get business funding the right way, I will leave for you down below in the description. So in time, when this is uploaded fully to the channel, make sure you view that. Now, before I get started, if you're watching me here on the live, give me a hashtag live in the comments or a hashtag replay so I know the time interval that you stepped in here to watch. Either way, I appreciate you. Your energy and your time is precious, as is mine. I hope you value that because I value yours very deeply. Now, let's get right into this. So the latest update, and I have a tab open with some notes that I put together, so I'll walk you through that in a moment. But Chuck Schumer, the Senate, the leader, the head of the leader in New York, has said to this lady, Guzman, that she should go ahead and add these 6 months of deferment. And I'll show you what that looks like. But in your KWeb or in your back portal, you can go in there and most likely you would see the maturity, the origination date, and you would see the updated time you have now. Of course, that's the principal. And then you have the interest, about 3.5, 3.7% or so. That will still be occurring. But if you're in a position to make those payments much faster so you don't have to pay that added interest, then by all means go for it. And that's what I would recommend if you're in that position. So this is great news. And I know not everybody is in the position economically to be best suited, so this helps. And it's a great thing that Chuck Schumer made mention of this and wrote a letter to Guzman, who's part of the SBA, the Small Business Administration, and I'll get into some of those details that I put in my little document here. But she has gone ahead and moved forward with this, and as it's moved into the Senate, that's like a final approval. Once it goes through Chuck, and he says this is what we want to do, go ahead and move forward with this, and it gets put out there. The reason why you really haven't heard of it is because really the board of committee haven't really come together and justified all of this. So Guzman, she might be having to answer some questions very briefly, but for the most part, this has gone through. Now, let me open up my tab here so I can look at a few documents. You may not be able to see it on your end, which is okay. I'll get into the tabs in a moment. So the administrator, so you have more full details. I have it all here in my document, put together very organized and nicely. Is Administrator Isabella Casillas Guzman, head of the U.S. Business Administration, otherwise known as the SBA, and who is the voice for America's 32.5 million small businesses in President Biden's cabinet, directed the agency to provide additional deferment of principal, right? We didn't talk about the interest, and interest payments for existing COVID EIDL applicants, or people who have been funded, I should say. And so borrowers for a total of 30 months deferment from the inception on all approved COVID EIDLs. Let me read that again. So additional deferment, we're saying 6 months on principal and interest payments for existing COVID EIDL program borrowers for a total of 30 months deferment from inception on all approved COVID EIDL loans. So look back into that so you can have more information of it. So the extended deferment period will provide additional flexibility to all small business owners who have been impacted by the pandemic, and especially those of you who have been hit hard in a specific area, in a community, and it has really disrupted everything that's flowing. And because maybe of the recent variants we've been going through, as well as the supply chain and inflation challenges amid the growth of the economic recovery, which we're currently going through. And we're still facing a huge pandemic because there's always something happening. We don't know what will happen tomorrow. We can't say for sure, but who knows? Right here, we have lifted in Washington, in Oregon as well, the use of masks. But who knows what will happen in the future? That's just one part of it. So that's good to know. And I have a few more notes here. So some key notes that I put together here. The deferment extension is effective for all COVID EIDL loans that have been approved in the calendar years of 2020 through 2022. 2020, 21, and 22. Very straightforward. Loans now have a total deferment of 30 months from the date of the note. So that's why 6 months and then 30 months of the note. Interest will continue to accrue on the loans during that deferment, as I just said earlier, whatever that percentage is, 3.5 up to or 3.75%, whatever that can be for your specific situation. So borrowers, as yourself, if you have a current EIDL that may make partial or full payments during the deferment period but are not required to. And so the SBA recommends you using www.pay.gov. So the SBA will not send monthly SBA Form 1201 payment notices. However, the SBA will send regular payment reminders via email. So make sure you're looking for those reminders that will come to you via email. I know a lot of us, we want to look at it from a phone call perspective and maybe behind in the portal, but make sure you're looking out for an email on that. And I've already spoken with many people going through these situations on how they get email, how they get responses. So keep that on the back of your mind. So existing COVID EIDL borrowers can find account balances and payment due dates in the SBA Capital Access Financial System or the CAFS, and learn how to set up an account through CAFS system by logging into the Capital Access Financial System, SBA, which is part of SBA.gov. So deferments may result in balloon payments. Really not a huge surprise there. The deferment will not stop any established pre-authorized debit, or in other words, PAD for short, or recurring payments on the loan. COVID EIDL borrowers with an SBA established PAD must contact their SBA servicing center to stop recurring payments during the extended deferment period. So COVID EIDL borrowers who have established a PAD through pay.gov, as I just mentioned earlier, where you can go through, or any other bill service, are responsible for terminating recurring payments during the extended deferment period. So just so you know, the responsibility on your shoulders. After the deferment period ends, COVID EIDL borrowers will be required, to make regular principal and interest payments beginning 30 months from that date of the note. So in all, this is great information, and it's going to benefit you, specifically if you've been in a hard-hit area or in a time right now where those payments just seem too much, even with what you're being given on the type of repayment. You might look at it and say that that's not as much as what I could have gone if I went to a private lender or in a different route. Then you're looking at it and saying, well, I'm going to have a hard season in my business. Cash flow is going to suffer. The economy, the way it looks in my community, there's so many things that are adding stress on top of this. So you may have been in that position, but in the seasons that you hit may not be right this second, but that deferment's really going to help you. And then there's those people, that specific category who's using, and I spoke about in another video, what are the statistics on what's the most commonly used funds when you get EIDL funding, payroll, just to pay the bills, just really a lot of survival money purposes. And I won't get into it specifically. I'll try to leave a video for that down below on the statistics and for primary and secondary uses of funding. But for all SBA EIDL news, if you need to learn more about that, I'll leave more information for it down below in the description. Now, you're like, great, this sounds all good and all. I don't even have an EIDL loan, or I do have one. Great for the deferment. It's really not that big of an impact or that much of a deal. Or maybe it is, but you're still looking for additional funding. Perhaps you cannot request an increase. You're going through the whole reconsideration, the whole appeal process, denials, and not sure about what will happen on the other end. You keep wondering if you're going to get a call back, if they'll email you, if something will be updated in my portal, going through your K-Web or wherever that may be. And it just doesn't appear to be. So I'm going to show you an alternative option, and I'm going to go through some of the services. I'll start with one of them here, and then I'll add some on top of that. But you can get up to $2 million incredibly fast funding within a day of approval, within 2 days of funds deposited in your account, as much as a week, depending on your file and how extensively we have to look at it. So give me 1 second here while I open up the tab. And let me know again, how are you guys doing? I know not everybody can tune in at this time. We have obligations, priorities in our own businesses, in our own work, so we can't always attend these lives, which is fine. Completely understood and understandable there. So there is an option here, and by no means is this a secondary option. This can be a primary one, as I just mentioned. If you don't have the EIDL, you haven't been accepted for it, you can't get the increase. You get an increase, it's just not enough. You want an additional amount. There are various ways to look at this. There are private lenders who can get you fast funding, same day approval, and even same day funding, depending on that service. But with here, you have a company like David Allen Capital, who is very safe and secure. I've helped out plenty of people not only get business funding through them, but in so many other services. Got denied for low FICO. Did you happen to leave me a comment earlier, Jay? I'm not sure if you did. I saw a comment, but I haven't been able to get. And if you guys, let me say this, have sent me a comment on some of my videos, maybe a blog post or elsewhere, and I haven't gone to you, I will get to you soon. I have a lot of things going on in the day that require my attention for projects or a certain project. But if you've come through David Allen Capital, and let's say you've gone denied because of low FICO, we can accept you with as little as a 450 or a 500 plus. But the reality is a lot of lenders pull away. If you're just above 500 or 500 and above, right? Less than 600 or so, you can still get approved. The thing is, a lot of lenders pull away from this when they see your file. If you don't even have strong enough revenue, they won't even, and a lot of times, consider it because you're looked at as a very high risk profile. We don't know, based upon that payment history, what you will be able and capable of doing. Can you make the repayment? Can the lenders be comfortable with that? Can they give you enough cushion and time? Maybe not specifically the time period, but a lot of lenders pull away from working with a lot of extremely bad credit profiles. And if you don't have strong enough revenue, let me move this over. If you don't have strong enough revenue, that also adds on top of it. So if we're considering revenue-based funding here as one of our options, and you don't have strong revenue, your credit score is just above 500, you're barely doing 5,000 plus per month with this, which is one of our requirements. Lenders wouldn't go less than that. A lot of them do not. And I'm not talking about the approval amount. If you're doing 5,000 plus per month within each of the last 3 months, you can get approved up to 75% of your lowest month. And we've also looked at the average amount. And then if you're doing 15,000 a month with David Allen Capital, you can get up to 2 million. We can approve you from 75% to 200% of your lowest month. And we also look at your average monthly sales on that part of the equation. So let me put this into perspective here a little bit. So if you've been declined, usually you're given a reason. And if you haven't been given a reason, you know why you've been declined. And if we haven't spoken about what the qualifications and the requirements are, you may be a little confused. I can try to clarify for you. I'll leave information down below in the description so you can get a hold of me. I'll try to leave my email there. Then you can send me a message, as well as my social media handles. But there are reasons why you've been declined. As I've spoken to my underwriters recently, they've had to pull away more than ever from people with bad credit profiles, because even if their revenue isn't even strong, one, two, and then they have other things in their bank statements that don't align, it's going to cause a lot of concern, because we get people, and I see it all the time, who say, well, why am I paying this? Or can you extend this? And there's a lot of complainers out there who, and then even worse, if you were on a monthly payment, we don't do that here. It's daily, sometimes weekly. There are monthly services, which I will get into in a moment. You don't see monthly here because it is a very high risk, but there are a lot of people who complain, and we don't want to hear it. Lenders don't want it. The underwriters don't. I don't want to hear people saying they can't make their payments, or this is the reason why this is happening, and they're in a certain season. And there's so many problems that I've heard and I've gone through already, that's why a lot of lenders pull away from it and shy away, especially if you don't have strong enough revenue. Strong revenue can overcompensate you having a low FICO. And if you meet the requirement of the FICO, great. But then we have to look at the other things in your business and the revenue strength. We have to look at the time in business, credit scores on top of that, background checks, and anything else. I've had people who've been declined because they have fraudulent bank statements. Do not try to manipulate the system. You will be found and you will be shown for that. And don't be that person. And when I get in touch with you, you don't understand why or so forth. But the lenders have their own systems that can find this out. And there are other things like credit discrepancies and things that they just wouldn't want to move forward with. So this is stuff that can be found. Do not manipulate things. I've had plenty of people try to do that. It just does not work. It can be easily found. So you can get up to $2 million incredibly fast funding with David Allen Capital, and you can get the best offer presented to you. We can go and shop for it, and we'll get you the best one and present it to you. That's the luxury of this. There are a lot of options out there, going through a direct lender, going through brokerages. It depends on the situation, but a lot of the time I prefer you getting multiple offers and then you being presented with the one that makes the most sense. So we can pair you up with the best lender, and ultimately you get to walk away knowing that you were well taken care of and you got the best option available. So with the up to 2 million here, and there will be more content on this down below in the description, so make sure to view the full video on David Allen Capital link, where you can get a lump sum up to 2 million. You can get up to 25,000 same day instant approval through their Bank Breezy program with just as little as a 5,000 plus in monthly bank revenue within each of the last 3 months. On average, we wanted to likely see more than that, 5,000 and above. Business checking account, 6+ months in business, a 450 plus FICO credit score is all that's asked for. All industries are included. Payment history will earn you more. You get to receive funds time and time again. Your add-on funds are available. You get a personalized account manager, so you don't have to feel like this lone wolf, right? Walking or running through the forest, not sure where you're turning to. It gets cold out there. You're not warm enough because you don't know where to go. You can't get meat to stay cozy. You get somebody who will walk you through the process, and I'll be here by your side as well every step of the way. And again, like I said, we have the up to 2 million program. Those will be more covered down below. I'll have video content on that you guys can view more about to get started with your application, but it is very fast. There is also a line of credit where at the moment we can get you between 5,000 to 100,000. That can change over time. We're looking to go up even higher. So that would be a great thing. Simple and fast. These are automatic weekly draws, as opposed to you getting a lump sum. Sometimes they may just be daily/weekly. Sometimes we can move you directly into a weekly with a lump sum. So it depends on whether you can use it for the same things. A line of credit can often be used for cash flow deficiency. So if you don't have it now, but you may think you have it in the future, but you just want to have money sitting there and withdrawing it whenever you need to. You don't need to use a lump sum all at once. You don't know if you're going to use it for a certain project or projects, then a line of credit may make the most sense to you. I always recommend having the two. We can get you a line of credit and see if we can approve you for a lump sum, if that makes sense, depending on how much you ask for. Maybe you don't get approved as much for one, but you can get approved for a lot more on the other one, so we can get you to your cash goal. And vice versa, we can get you a lump sum, and then we can try to add a line of credit on top of it. Not everybody gets approved for either one of them, or you get approved for one or the other. So that's an amazing thing. I'll leave more information of this down below in the description. Let me move the screen over. Hopefully that helped answer your question, what you said there, Jay. You got denied for low FICO. But there are other services, and in specifically the SBA world, there's the SBA 7A, the 504/CDC. You can even get mentoring through the SBA 8A, through training and learning new skills through that, getting mentoring. I can mentor you as well. I've been doing that for plenty of people as a business loan broker/agent. I know the feeling. I know how hard it is to get funding. I've been through it myself, trying to get business funding for your own businesses, let alone just one. And then you come through these private lenders who they say, oh, this, they put you in this whole this page that's like all marketing wise good. But when you get in it, it's like, why is my interest rate this amount? Or why is my rate, my total payback? You're telling me it's this, and this is my repayment. There are times when that is justified, and I'll try to link you guys to a video on the types of interest rates you can come familiar with. So there are other types like SBA, as I said, the 7A, the 504, and there are more that can lower the interest rates, give you those monthly terms, and give you between 5 to 25 years. If you're looking for a bank term loan, it can be 6 to 18% plus. Unsecured, maybe secured. In the unsecured business term loan through private lenders, the cost of capital or the interest can be a lot higher. You're looking maybe at around 25 to 50% in interest for an unsecured business term loan. And if you're going the private lender route, it's not necessarily inexpensive. It can be expensive at times. It can be very expensive. And in some ways, it depends on you as the owner in what you are currently facing and will face in the future. And a lot of people don't look at it like, oh, it's just a short-term thing with these daily/weekly. I can move into a weekly. I can start with that. And you're telling me this is my rates and this is my terms, but this is my repayment. And the repayment makes sense, then you can move forward with it. Like I tell everybody, does the benefit exceed the repayment? It's not that the benefit exceed the rate. At a point, you have to look at it, does the benefit of what I am getting, and I'm going to inject that so I can keep my business stable and I can increase my bottom line, does that benefit the repayment over here, where if we break it up into a daily, weekly, even bi-weekly and monthly, is it too much? If it is too much and you're like, my business does not need this for the amount of terms that I can qualify for, then I don't want to move forward with it. But in the future, you go, well, I'm going to keep this option open. I won't burn my bridges. Never burn your bridges. There are people out there who just, maybe you have a bad day. Still, it's not an excuse. Step back before you say anything or add anything. And so keep that on the back of your mind. There are a lot of options out there. There are bank term loans. There are online bank line of credits. There are unsecured business term loans, secured business term loans if you're asking for lower rates and you can put in some type of collateral. You see that's through the SBAs, which I'm currently helping people get funding through, as well as all these other services that I'm mentioning. And if you need help with all of this, there will be a questionnaire down below so you can submit some details that will then land into my inbox. Let me see if I can bring it up on the screen and then we'll close up here. And I appreciate each and every one of your guys' time. I know your time is precious, as is mine, and I'll let you go on your way. But don't forget, if you have a question, comment, or concern, please voice it for me down below in the comment section. If you have my email, email me, and I will do my best. Again, there are a lot of people, and sometimes I don't get to it right away, and I have projects to get done with. Usually it's a one-man show here. So here, let me bring up this form. If you have not submitted this questionnaire, it's not an application. In a questionnaire, you just simply fill out some funding details like name, email, phone number is being asked. Why? Because in a way, when I get this email from you that you submitted, I will give you a proper analyzation and an evaluation, and I will respond back to that email with your best funding option and your options. And once that email gets sent back to you, that shows you my qualifications, how it all works, the application process, as well as some review videos, some bonus content, some bonus material that you wouldn't get elsewhere, and a conclusion on what I recommend you do. This is unlike anything you've seen out there. You're not going to come across this, and if there is somebody who does this, it is one of those carbon copies or just somebody trying to copy what I'm doing. But what I do is I really take care of you on a personal aspect, more so than on a business aspect to begin with. And I want to get to know you a bit. I don't look at this as just a business transaction. I actually really don't think about that a lot of the times. I detach myself from any of that. And I really want to get to know who you are, that I'm caring for you, and that, oh, yeah, you're doing this on the weekend. You're enjoying that time with your family. Where are you guys going to go? You guys are going on a hike? Oh, cool. Where to? Oh, you guys going to be in the city soon? Cool. And so little things like that go a longer ways for me than anything else. And so this form will be down below in the description. And again, why I'm asking for your contact number is just to follow up with you after I sent you that email. Usually I send you a text message, so preferably mobile, if you can put there, so then I can say, hey, I just sent you an email with the subject line from this person. Please, from this email, please refer to it. What I've left you is in this. This is not an automated response. You can reply back here for anything you need. And I'm going to be there in this ever so presence to help you every step of the way. Things like funding amount that you're requesting, time in business, is it years or months? Please specify. FICO credit score, and if you don't know it, please try to put a range in it. Try not to leave it blank. I mean, it's helpful for me to know, so that way I can see what you'll be best qualified for. Do you have established business credit? Yes or no? Doesn't automatically disqualify you. It can limit you on what type of funding you can go for, because some don't report to the main credit bureaus like the David Allen Capital that I just mentioned. Not specifically done in Bradstreet. So you don't have to worry a lot of the times for business credit or that business credit building aspect. And it's not always like you need to have a loan that works on personal and business credit building. That's not what you should primarily be looking at. There are other factors like use of funds, how fast can you get it, can you even access the other options, something in your business credit profile, would it make sense, so you don't want to work with that at the moment. And there are a lot of reasons. Monthly sales, what is the least amount in the last 3 months? Average monthly sales within the last 3 months. And use of funds, you can get a little drop down there, select which one. There are a lot of them to select. You have business industry, business name, any additional notes you'd like to share. For example, exact use of your funds, expectations, etc. Then about us, a little bit about what I do. There are more services that I offer, but I only put just enough there. It's more around the site. The key benefits, how it works, shows you more or less, and then a little video. It could look like this more or less. It might be changed a bit around, but this will be down below for this questionnaire you can fill out and submit that so it lands in my email. I can give you a proper response that's personalized and more customized. You don't want to be harassed or heckled, do you, by people who you submit a application with, or you don't even submit an application. You just started an account with them. You go through this online marketplace. They try to present to you the best options. Some of them are there, but they don't present to you all the best things, and they don't paint you a clear picture. They don't break down the numbers for you. They don't really take the time to understand you and thoroughly show you what this is all about. Now, I will go ahead and do all of that. I will show you, I will do the opposite of what I'm saying. I'm doing the opposite of what they do. That they don't show you, I will show you everything by filling out that form. And there's also a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist you can pick up that will show you what you must know before you walk into an application with 110% confidence and certainty that you will be approved without wasting time. We're talking about days, weeks, months, and even years here of sifting through old, outdated, scammy type of information, fluff and theory-based. It just does not work. It's not up to date for you and your industry and your needs. But you can also pick that up when you fill out that questionnaire. Here it says, plus get a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to get you approved for funding much faster, so you know and you're more confident when you walk in to that application. Now that will round up this video. This wasn't, supposed to be a video all about all the services that are alternative to the EIDL or other things like PPP related. I'll have content on that like David Allen Capital you can check out, which I highly recommend down below. The alternative SBA EIDL programs, grant programs, alternatives to targeted advance. I didn't mention this, but the forgiven part after the deferment, that could be something that's looked upon in the future, hasn't been completely decided as of yet. But hopefully this helps you out, especially with other purposes. Now you have the alternative, and you got to hear a little bit about Schumer and how with Guzman, how they've been speaking and how she had that say and been able to move forward with it with the 6 months of deferment. Finally, right, you're thinking that, and it's going to help your business specifically in this recovery, quote unquote recovery, right? We're still in this pandemic, that somehow we're in recovery in the better stages, and then we come back and then we're back to where we started. But make sure you look through all this information. Will be down below in the description, so it's more thorough and it can sit with you more. If you want to learn more about increases in reconsideration, I'll try to leave those videos down below. You can pick up a free template on that. For all other options as well, feel free to explore down below. And like I said, again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please voice them to me. I'm always here to help you, not to neglect you like a lot of people do. Not saying everybody, but they don't always have your best interest at heart as a human being and then as a business owner second. So look for all that information down below. And if you have not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. And if you feel like you got value out of this, please give it a thumbs up and share it with other people you feel will get value out of this. It can be your friends, family. It can be a complete stranger who you say, okay, this helped me. It's probably not going to be as useful to me. I'll look at this in the future, but I know they will find it right now or in the future as well. So that'll be everything from me. Take care. Talk to you all soon. Bye.